I'm Dr. TJ from the Institute of Natural Health. I'm inviting you to check out our show, Wellness 101, every Sunday at 7 a.m. right here on ESPN. On Wellness 101, we talk about how to optimize your health as well as all things health-related. We discuss how to take control of your health by being your own health advocate, and we offer practical tips for you to become the healthiest you possible. On Wellness 101, we cover topics like optimizing hormones, thyroid health, gut function, cardiovascular health, sexual health and performance, and many more. So join Aaron and me every Sunday for Wellness 101 at 7 a.m. on ESPN.
Yes. All right, I got a problem already. I looked up to go see what the great people in the YouTube chat were saying, and I saw Tanner and BK. Are they doing like a show in a parallel universe or something?
Alternate timeline?
That's Balloon Party. My name's Tim McKernan. That's Jackson Burkett. Come on in, the water's warm. And people yesterday wanted me to read more text. I need to do that. I love the Great Ape Auto Detailing. I love Marcia's Burner. I love Janet, and I want to read the texters today. And you know what? I think I'm infallible. However, there's always room for growth.
Right.
And I need to read from the YouTube chat, like Bach Hog, who just said check, and Daddy Be Cooking, who said hi, Tim. So I'll read that. And then I'll also read the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. I'll read both of them. You know who said both of them? Who said that?
Both of them. Rats.
From a film, 1990s.
1990s.
Famous actor, has Oscars.
Both of
Chasey
them.
Lane was in the movie. So was Ray Allen.
Oh, that would, of course, be Denzel and He Got Game,
That's
directed
correct.
by Spike Lee.
Jesus Shuttlesworth. Game 6, 2013, over the outstretched hands of...
Ooh, who was closing out? Would that have been it could have been Shane Batty.
Either way, Jackson, I'm not going to let you talk NBA. Let's get into the Cardinals.
Right out. Bang! Mike Breen.
We got a couple things going on here. It's going to be Cardinal heavy today. That's just the way it's going to be. All right, so if that's a problem... Jackson, then Rockio standing by. Second thing we got going on is Rockio and Jackson are chicken fighting in between shows over who's going to run point on Friday on what is the producers' party.
I don't want to...
Good Morning Grant is running the board. Did a wonderful job on Friday. A lot of people are talking about that.
Oh, I know. Yeah, he's... who's like Geno Smith? Who's like the... best backup quarterback who everyone's like clamoring for.
Chase Daniel.
Justin Fields right now in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to do that. But, and I respect that. Grant's great. But Grant will be running the board. Marshy will be in. Rocky will be in.
Does he still have that Raleigh fingers thing going?
The mustache? I think he's grown out the beard a little more.
Is that right?
In recent days. I saw him yesterday. I can't really remember. So that's going to be the 4. Now... I got a call last week.
Oh, what do we got going on?
I was driving to Chicago. And
your parents were driving you?
Of course. I was
okay,
in the
I just wanted
backseat.
to,
I was in the backseat.
It's accurate here, honesty in media.
I was literally just pulling out of the family
You were listening
driveway.
to the 4.5-hour podcast on Pulp Fiction.
I just fired that up. Literally before I could hit the play button, I get a call from Mike Ryder, and I said, ooh, what did I mess up? But he was very kind. He asked if I wanted to do a producer's party where you're out on Friday. I said, absolutely. He goes, all right, cool. Well, you run point. It is an exact quote.
That's executive producer. He just kind of named the depth chart around here. And Jackson's at the top of the depth chart.
He said,
what?
He said, you run point and then have Rock or Marshy, whoever you want in there. I said, perfect. Sounds good. Looking forward to it. So I hate to pull rank, but when the executive producer speaks, I listen.
Grant is Balloon Party's Kurt Warner. That's from The Dave. I like that name. Marsh needs to do the Sports Center update, though. He's the best at it. That's from The Water Boy.
I'm on board with that. He certainly is the best at it.
Geno Smith, are you kidding me? It's from the 314.
When he was like backing up Russell Wilson, or people like, bring in Geno.
I've been texting this number for an entire year and haven't heard my text once. Can you read this, please? That's from the 636.
Look inward.
Jackson just told you to look inward. Hi, Tim. I'm in the text inbox. That's from the 314. S my D bow tie. Also, is Marsh still servicing West County divorcees in the back of minivans? Wow.
Jeez.
I really enjoyed that text. Is that something that he was doing?
I don't think so. He's a man of
Is he
love.
available?
No, he's probably sleeping.
Yeah, but I mean, we all have our pass.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I don't know. We'll talk about that on Friday.
Oh.
He'll be on both
I might
TMA.
have to tune in to, he's going to be on TMA and Balloon Party?
He'll be on both.
Look at that.
He'll be running the
gotta be excited.
And on the fast lane later that day.
Big day.
It's a heavy day, and he's on the fast lane tonight.
Marsh all day here on Friday. I
Yeah.
like that. All right, Jackson. I don't know what the hell to say here about this Cardinal operation, but let's dig into it.
Let's do it.
Okay?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Born.
The morning of August 1st, the Cardinals are on the north side of Chicago, where Mizzou graduates with aspirations go.
Right.
And they had just won a couple against the Rangers. Tommy Pham, Eric Fetty had been acquired. Cardinal fans were starting to believe, including myself, that maybe, just maybe, the Tommy Pham trade will be the Cesar Cedeno moment of the 2024 Cardinals. Matter of fact, all the way until about 9:30 that evening, those dreams were still alive. Ryan Helsley takes the ball, 3 outs away from another win, and the Cardinals lose the game. And I thought, well, they'll bounce back. It'll be a blip. But ever since that game, yeah, there were a couple wins against the Rays, and they won a game courtesy of Pete Crow Armstrong having a little issue with a judgment call on a windy day on a Saturday afternoon on that north side. And yeah, they split a series in Kansas City. But Jackson, if you wanted to look at a moment where it turned, that might have been the moment. Because ever since then, the team that was seemingly on the right track has fallen flat. And taking 2 or 3 from the Rays isn't bad.
No.
Splitting 2 with the Royals isn't bad. But losing 3 of 4 to the Cubs and losing at a minimum 2 of 3 and maybe all 3, depending on what happens coming up today, that is really a core issue when you are fighting for your postseason life. They are now 7.5 back of the Brewers, which has been an opportunity, actually, because Milwaukee has lost 3 straight. They're getting smacked around by the Dodgers. But they're 3.5 back of the 3rd wild card spot and 7.5 back of the other 2 wild card spots, as both the Padres and Diamondbacks have been on a heater. So, Jackson, if this is going to happen, it's going to have to require the Cardinals buzzing through some of the best teams in the game. They will be facing Tyler Glass now, and they'll be matching up with Miles Mikolas on Friday night at Busch Stadium. They'll be facing Clayton Kershaw. They'll be matching that up with Andre Palante. And then Sonny Gray tries to have redemption from the mess on Monday in Cincinnati, and he'll take on Gavin Stone. Then you got the Brewers. Then you got a trip to Minneapolis. Then you got a trip back home to St. Louis for 4 with the Padres. And then you go to the Bronx. Let me tell you something, brother. After the Bronx, then you got the Milwaukee Brewers. If it's going to happen, now is the time. They've had opportunities against some lesser teams. They haven't been able to capitalize. If it's going to happen, now is the time. I've got a variety of observations on this thing. Hunter Green's been one of the best pitchers in the game over the last, I guess, 7-ish weeks. I know that because he's a proud member of the
Southside Seaman.
Thank you. The most recognizable brand in fantasy baseball. But I get it. Hey, that's going to be tough to score runs. Some of these other slappies, though.
Andrew Abbott.
And it's great to have Jordan Walker called up and start platooning him.
I saw the reasoning behind that.
But with the talent in the outfield, I can understand. I mean, what are we doing there?
They said they wanted Gorman because even though he has it's very small sample size against Green, he's had a little success. So they tried him out there yesterday. That yielded absolutely nothing.
What we are getting to now is a point which I'm telling you, I never thought great team, but I never thought awful team.
Right.
It's just been like 82, 86, somewhere in there. It was my sweet spot on where they would be. but for it to fall off like it's fallen off. And also, they're not necessarily like fights.
No.
In the gambling community, we call these sweat-free.
That game took less than 2 hours last night.
It's just nothing.
Yeah.
And you would think, as a fan, you would hope that if you are, theoretically, fighting for your postseason life against a team that up until the Cardinals dropped by was out of the playoff mix, and now I guess they're kind of in the same spot as the Cardinals. Yeah. They're just a game back of the Cardinals, the Cincinnati Reds, that you would have some fight. And if you're just not seeing that, and if you're watching the math damn you to another year of no postseason, that is why I think we have gone in 2 weeks from the high that there was on the morning of August 1st to perhaps the low on the morning of August 14th.
Yeah, I mean, going into that ninth inning of that Thursday night game at Wrigley, that was as good as I felt about the Cardinals probably all year. Probably.
And I think fans, again, it wasn't universal, but there was a real charge. Like, okay, Eric Fetty, he hadn't pitched yet for the Cardinals. He would start that Friday in Chicago. And Tommy Pham. And maybe Tommy Pham is going to inject life into a relatively blasé team.
Right. Yeah. And Sonny Gray had a good outing that game. And he, after 5 or 6 bad ones. So I felt really good. And then ever since, it has just been absolute nothing. Like you said, a sub 2 hour game last night. You got no life out there. Runners in scoring position, it's like they got no chance. If the lefty's on the mound, you mentioned Clayton Kershaw, you can already chalk that one up as an L. They're going to run out of time eventually, and it's unfortunate they're playing the best teams in baseball going down this stretch, but it's also an opportunity to make up some ground against teams that are right ahead of you in the race.
Oh, well, look at that. There's Jackson.
That's the optimistic view on it, but the realistic view of it is what is going to be the catalyst to make them change? If it's not going to be Tommy Pham in the deadline acquisition, who's it going to be? Who's going to be the person who's going to lead the charge? I don't see anyone out there who's going to take the spot.
Just from a straight up, if you were looking at schedules, you'd go, wow, okay, the Brewers are playing the Dodgers. Cardinals are playing the Reds. Take 2 of 3, and the Brewers lose 2 of 3. You've made up ground there. Plus, you got the Brewers coming up 6 games over the next 2.5 weeks. This is a golden opportunity because, again, getting that final wild card spot with however many teams you would consider to be in the mix, that's going to be tough. Doesn't mean it can't happen. It's just mathematically more difficult because you're 7.5 back of all of the wild card teams but 1, and you're 7.5 back of the Brewers, and you got 6 with the Brewers. Well, here the Brewers are flailing against the Dodgers. And the Cardinals could have had a golden opportunity here. But not only are they losing, they're losing in just a very, it's like, okay, Missouri plays Murray State. It's the same kind of like, yeah, they won, whatever. But it's the Reds doing it to the Cardinals.
Right.
And I think that is actually more frustrating because if you're going to lose and you're going to lose against a lesser team, you'd like to see some fight.
Yeah, right.
But there's nothing.
Right.
And as you said, they're just games flying by with just no sweat whatsoever.
I sat down to dinner last night with some buddies.
Where'd you go? Did you guys hit Tony's?
No, a really good Chinese place right down Olive Boulevard here, Kate Zone.
I didn't see that on the live read log today.
It was tasty. I'll just let you know.
I'll let HR determine that.
But we sat down to dinner waiting for a buddy. We, talked it over, had a good time. By the time we sat down, the game had basically started. By the time we got up, the game was over. Like, it was that quick. I mean, it was no sweat, just absolutely no sweat.
2 weeks ago, the Cardinals were plus 400 to win the National League Central. Jackson, plus 1,800 now.
Jeez.
Plus 1,800 to win the National League Central.
Oh, my God.
You ready to fire a bullet? It was plus 1,400 yesterday. You ready to fire a bullet?
It might be easier to win the Central than it is the wild card. Get a wild card
spot. I would agree with you. That's not really a cutting-edge take. I thought Horton Watkins' math class would teach you that.
Yeah, well, sometimes you swing.
Why are you over there rubbing your eyes? You need some Visine, bro?
No, I had something like a eyelash or something up in there. We're good now.
Why? I thought we're going to have to take an emergency break. Jackson has an eyelash problem.
This is unbelievable.
I mean, that's what happened. I'm over there. I'm like spitting venom, and I look over, and my co-host, I call you producer, but they call you co-host. I disagree with it. Is over there rubbing his eyes like, I'm tired. Get to the NBA talk.
Not the case. Sometimes I fight through it. I'm a real battler. I'm a grinder. I'm the type of guy who will give you the shirt off his back. And so I could still give takes while rubbing my eyes. I just got to get this debris out of my eye.
Cardinals have a losing record against the National League Central, the worst division, and a losing record. Not good. That's from the 314. Yep, there's one team above 500 in the National League Central, and that's your Milwaukee Brewers. Now that the Cardinals are 500. Were you planning your next boy slut trip in the woods, pal? That's from the 314.
Maybe. Who knows? Now your business.
Let's see. Jackson, if you're in danger, blink twice. That's from the 314.
I'm not in danger, baby. I am danger.
My wife teaches math at Horton Watkins. The students just don't pay attention. That's from the Water Boy. Is that because of the trust fund situation?
So bad at math. I was always a grade behind in math, and that was really humbling. You know, like when you're a sophomore with all the freshmen in math class in high school.
I hope Birds lose next 12 and end this thing. I'm tired of the no-life emotion crap that's on the field. Just end it and let's talk Blues and Mizzou football. That's from the 573. Now, I think a number of people kind of feel that way, but here's the question that I want to pose to the audience today. This is where I want to go with this conversation. What do you want to see them do? Now, 2006 and 2011, really. 2006, they were lurking. They just weren't really a great regular season team. It also was dealing with a lot of health issues. But 2011 was a team that, I mean, we had my bachelor party at one of those rooftops in Wrigley Field. Cardinals were playing the Cubs. And we're sitting there and we're having libations. I think it was like mid to late August. And there wasn't a soul there who thought that the Cardinals were going to go to the postseason, much less win the World Series. That, of course, was a potentially once-in-a-lifetime kind of run that they went on, even getting to the postseason, much less beat what I thought was one of the best teams I had seen that didn't win a World Series, the 2011 Phillies, beat the team that won the National League Central, the Brewers, in the NLCS, and then in one of the greatest World Series of my lifetime, at the very least, the 2011 World Series, win the World Championship. So it can happen, but just because it has happened, it doesn't mean it will happen again. With that all said, it still can happen. They do have 6 against the Brewers, but operating on the premise of it's heading in the direction that it looks like the Cardinals are going to miss the postseason yet again, and in crunch time, they're failing. What do you want to see? What would get you back on board? Because the biggest story at this moment to me in St. Louis sports, as excited as I am about Missouri football, I love the meta play that Doug Armstrong pulled off yesterday with the Oilers. I love that kind of crap. The biggest story as we sit here on August 14th, from my standpoint in St. Louis sports, is the increase in frustration from the fan base in the direction of the Cardinals, to the point that the organization is looking at empty stands. And they were looking at empty stands even when we were talking about the high that was coming off of those Rangers wins in the trade deadline. So where are you as a fan? Are you angry? Are you apathetic? And what can the organization do? What do you want to see the organization do to get you back on board? Because there is one thing that is crystal clear about the Cardinals in 2024, and that is the relationship with the fan base is at a low point in the DeWitt ownership era. That is crystal clear to me, and I have spent all but I guess the 8 months I was doing television in Little Rock in 1999 and 2000 in the state of Missouri since Bill DeWitt bought this team, and the vast majority of those in St. Louis. And I have not seen anything like this, and I think this might be the low point because it's compounded with the last place finish last year, and again is immaterial, I suppose, as it is to what's taken place on the field, because I am not of the opinion that this is on Ali Marmol, and I know there are some people who are, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I just don't view it that way. I do think giving him a contract extension coming off a last place finish is just as tone deaf as it gets. Right. So, with that established, what is your emotion right now? Is it apathetic? Is it pissed? Is it like, good, I'm glad because they're going to have to make a change? And then what is it that you want to see them do? What can they do that's going to get you back on board? Or are you on board and you say these boys are ready to fire? Maybe you're going to come in at contrarian. I don't know. I'm going to read as much as I possibly can, both in our YouTube chat and in the Air Comfort Service text line. The number is 314-399-9646. And leave a mic drop. Maybe we got a mic drop. I don't know. Jackson?
I'll check it out.
All right. Chairman Steve?
We got one from there.
Good Morning Grant had access to a file that I didn't even know existed.
Yeah, I'm a little...
Hold on a second. What's going on?
First of all, he texted me and he wasn't pleased with the Geno Smith comparison.
Good Morning Grant was not.
I'm going to send him the Tavon Austin college highlight tape, a.k.a. the greatest video ever made, and tell him...
You think that's the greatest video ever made?
If I'm in a bad mood, watching Tavon at West Virginia with Kid Ink underneath it is pretty good, and Geno Smith was tossing him all those footballs, so take it easy, Grant. I don't know where...
This producer party Friday is going to be tense.
Contentious. I just don't know where these mic drops... We got Steve's mic drop. I got that ready to roll.
All right. But, I mean, he was firing mic drops left and right when he was filling in for you on Friday.
I don't know where they were. I don't know. I have to talk to him.
I bet you do. All right, fair enough. We're going to have all of this coming your way the next 3 segments here on Balloon Party. It's 101 ESPN.
Zorro.com knows it takes a lot to run a business. For more than 10 years, we've been delivering all the supplies you need. Tools for your tough jobs? We've got them. Parts to keep equipment running? We've got them too. Plus, stock up on everyday items to keep your facility clean and safe. With millions of products in stock, you get same-day shipping on most orders placed by 4 p.m. local time. Visit Zorro.com today for tools, parts, and supplies for your business. Zorro.com.
Hi, it's Randy Carricker, and I'm here with the big boss man at the Fenton Bar and Grill. And Chuck, as you know, I'm a regular at the Fenton Bar and Grill, and that's because of the service that the Fenton Bar and Grill provides.
Thanks, Randy. Yeah, the team that we put together here over the last 4 years is just phenomenal.
And a great menu capped by the best trash wings that we'll ever have.
We do more wings in a day than most people do in a week.
And you want to check out the Fenton Bar and Grill, learn more at FentonBarandGrill.com, and I hope to see you there at the Fenton Bar and Grill on Rudder Road in Fenton. When you go, tell them Randy sent you.
Balloon Party 101 ESPN. All right, Jackson, I'm digging in. I'm digging into the YouTube chat, 101 ESPN YouTube, and the Air Comfort Service text line is Balloon Party, driven by Munganess, St. Louis Acura. Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton, Toyota. The topic of conversation, your emotion toward the Cardinals right now. Anger, apathy, another emotion, take your pick, whatever it is. And then what is it that they could do, or what things, plural, could they do to get you back on board if you are no longer on board? And I want to read in the Air Comfort Service text line, sweet mother of mercy with the text coming in. I hate to say it, but I hope the fans stay away from the ballpark for the rest of the year. If results don't force changes, maybe loss of dollars will. The fans have held up their end of the bargain for years, and it seems the team has gradually taken more and more advantage of us. Reminds me of shrinkflation. Fans pay the same or more, and the product just gets worse and worse. That's from the 314. Let's see. I have a feeling in 3 weeks I will be fully invested in our Missouri Tigers. Bye-bye, St. Louis 9. Hopefully that Mizzou bar in Soulard opens in time. That's from the 314. Youth movement next year, please. Keep the bullpen. Gray, Fetty, and maybe Gibson. Everything else must go. That's from the 636. First 2 games of this series, our 1 through 5 hitters are combined 6 for 39 with a slash line of 154, 214, 385. This alone should sound alarms. But on top of this, our pitching's been horrible, both starting and out of the pen. There's no silver lining right now. I hope we don't have another 5-game win streak where everyone hops back on the wagon. We need to blow it up. That's from the 636. I think we may be understanding the loss of leadership hangover from Yachty and Waino still, specifically Yachty when it comes to intensity. This team is good, not great, but they just don't seem to have that killer mentality. Yachty, Scherzer, Harper, etc. I do hear lack of emotion a lot. The Blues have Jake Neighbors coming up for the day Shen's gone. The Cardinals never had that guy for Yachty to groom. That's from the 870. I think Ali is the sacrificial person. Ever since his managing during the Phillies game and the Tyler O'Neill call out last year, the clubhouse has gone for the most part. Also, I don't know, I'm just reading. I don't know what I'm, also they down lot of money on Wilson Contreras, and he seems to be mainly a DH. Just seems they miss a lot on talent evaluation. Players seem to have some good years after they leave St. Louis. Who knows? If you compare the Cardinals to the rest of the majors, they just don't have enough good players. Fans go crazy for Newt Barr, and he is average to slightly above average. Well, he's been terrible in the month of August. Terrible in the month of August. Only person with a lower OPS in the Cardinals in the month of August is Brandon Crawford.
With 5
at bats, 2 games played.
5 AVs.
For the record. The team's boring, lifeless, not entertaining. It has no identity. We don't play small ball and run. That's okay if you're going to mash home runs, but we don't do that either. We fail in clutch time and time again. We strike out way too often. Our prospect youth movement is not developing like our central rivals. Our organization is a mess. We used to be innovative and cutting edge, but now lag behind in analytics and development. It seems like they've lost interest in putting a competitive product on the field. What happened to Tony's play a hard 9 attitude? This team's full of professionals and not competitors with attitude. What can fix it? It'll take time, but to get competitive again, tear it down and start over with hard-nosed players with attitude. At least we can root for effort. This team gives none. That's from the 573. So there you go.
Yeah, I think a lot of people make a lot of fair points, and I understand the frustration. On the blow it up thing, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Tim, not a lot of moves they can make without increasing spending a considerable amount. I'm not calling out saying to wall it here. I'm saying it would be a really big increase because you're going to lose. Your Goldschmidt won't be on the team, or at least won't be under contract next year. They can re-sign him, but he won't be under contract. And Steven Matz comes off the books. Outside of that, where can you Arenado?
Steven Matz can come off the books.
Is this not the last year of his contract?
I could be off the mark on that, but I
thought 2024 was the last year of Matz, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Either way, you're not like Arenado, would be someone you'd want to move if you were to blow it up. I don't know how much value that he has given how much money he makes and the performance he's had over the last year and a half. And that's being generous. Contreras, another guy making a lot of money, and I don't see a lot of teams clamoring to pay him like that. I just don't see where they can make a lot of moves without really increasing spending.
Steven Matz is under contract this year. He is at 12.5 next year.
Okay, so Matz doesn't even come off the books. So you're not having that much money come off the books. There's not a lot of places to spend, not a lot of people you can trade. They kind of traded the two guys that were really, Carlson and Edman were the two pieces.
I just, again, I could be off the mark on this. I really want to, it just needs to happen. I think they have an issue financially. I could be off the mark on that. And I want to make, when I go into this soliloquy on the financial issue, it's not like I haven't gotten a whisper of that from someone. This is all me observing. It's playing poker, and based on the action, I'm kind of guessing what the hand is on. But It's an educated guess. I just don't think you take the actions you take last offseason if you're feeling confident in your business model. Mm-hmm. Kyle Gibson, Lance Lynn, 1-year deals with a club option for 25, and then a short-term deal for a pitcher in his mid-30s. Point being, I don't think they're comfortable giving long-term deals. And I think that's tied into the television situation. And then people might go, well, then they need to sell the team. Because I'm hearing way more of that than I've ever heard before since Bill DeWitt bought the team. But if Bill DeWitt were to sell the team, personally, I don't think that's going to happen. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but if you ask me, do I think it's going to happen? The answer is no. Then that's whoever buys it still is inheriting the television problem.
Right.
And that's a problem for a business model. And I think one of the things, and I'm not saying it from the standpoint, because I used to say this crap on the radio. Granted, it was 20 years ago, but, I remember Mark Lampin kind of like, who was a great guy, is a great guy. I think the organization misses having a guy like Mark Lamping, actually, because he was so good as a face and a voice for the fans, I think, but inside the organization. Kind of going, hey, I know you don't really think much of the new ballpark, and but listen, that new ballpark allowed us to have the run that we've had because we knew we were going to have more money coming in because of the new ballpark. Right. In other words, I'm sure internally he's like, oh, this dumbass doesn't understand how the world works. But I'm going to politely explain.
I've been there.
You've been there? What have you been there with?
Just not understanding how the world works sometimes.
Well, who's born knowing how the world works? I assume you pick up the pace at Ladue a little quicker than the rest of us.
Anthony Edwards seems like he has it worked out.
Anthony Edwards knows how the world works.
Ant-Man.
But you can... The way one becomes incredibly wealthy is not by just taking on losses for fun.
Sure.
So whoever it is that would buy the team, if we're going to go down that road, which again, I don't think is going to happen, is inheriting a model that has an issue right now. And also this team has, I don't know if we would call it a middle-aged ballpark, a ballpark in its, if we were making an equivalent to human life, the ballpark's in its 30s.
Yeah, 30s, maybe touching 40.
Okay. And it's in a region that a number of people are not really interested in going to at the moment.
Yep. No denying.
What's that?
No denying that.
Yeah. So you got that going as well. Now, I just don't think they're selling. I'd
be pretty shocked.
I don't think the issue is the DeWitts and their spending. I think the issue is what they've spent it on and the fan base's perception that there is a lack of accountability for failure. This isn't new. This has been going on for a number of years with either problems with the draft or drafting players who fail here but then develop elsewhere. And then again, it didn't like cause the problems, but you already have an agitated fan base on edge. And what do you do 2 weeks before the season starts? You give the guy who managed the team to a last place finish a contract extension. I mean, just like it truly is. Let's figure out the thing that we can piss off the fan base the most with. I know we'll give Ollie, and again, I don't think Ollie was the guy to blame, but just giving a contract extension, you just can't do that.
Yeah.
Like if I were hosting a show and there were no advertising and the downloads were like the worst in the building, I'd go, oh boy, I better find something else.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, John Kiowski and Tommy Mattern go, hey, it's contract extension time. I'd go, oh, okay, what the hell? Let me sign this thing as quickly as I possibly can.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
I don't get that. But that's a more of a private kind of conversation. This is your front-facing person for the baseball operations.
Yep.
You have John Mozeliak and you have Ali Marmol. They're incredibly unpopular. Let's give them an extension after they finish in last place. What else can we do? Well, remember Matt Carpenter, how much that extension pissed people off? Yeah, let's bring him back. Okay, I mean, what do we... And the reason for the contract extension is, well, we fixed the pitching problems. Did you? You got guys who could theoretically pitch innings, but they weren't necessarily stars. They were innings eaters who you could get on one-year deals because I think that's what you need to do because you got a business model problem. And I just think in a market like St. Louis, where sports is such a key part of the lifeblood of the community, because so many people grew up here cheering for these teams and spend their lives here. And I'm not saying St. Louis, I mean, I can say it and use my hand on the audience, but I'm not going to lie to people. I don't think fans here are any smarter than fans anywhere else. But I do think fans here are more passionate about teams than other places. And therefore, they have a knowledge of history and can compare and contrast other teams, whereas I don't know if a lot of L.A. residents, for example, could compare and contrast Dodgers teams versus like 90s Dodgers teams because they weren't a part of their childhood as much as it is in St. Louis. And that's not a shot at L.A. It's a transient city with people moving in from other parts of the country, and it's different here. And so if you're going to tell us that certain things are the way they are, when we're looking at it and we go, well, no, it's not, then you feel like there's a breach of trust with your customers. And that's what pisses people off. In addition to giving a contract extension coming off a last place season. You just can't, this isn't high-level crap I'm spewing here. This is really kind of basic. It's like if I ran a lemonade stand, and we lost a bunch of money. I wouldn't go, all right, boys, let's go get them tomorrow. And as a matter of fact, everybody gets a raise. I just don't get it. I don't know. I don't know what to say. And then you finish in last place and people don't lose their jobs. But then the one guy who does get you to the playoffs and wins the series, he loses his job because he stands up and isn't a yes guy. And then people go, well, that's the problem. If you're not a yes man, you lose your job.
Right.
So that's what pisses people off. So to answer the question, and as I said, we want you people to text in. I've been reading a bunch of them. I'll read them in the YouTube chat here. What would get people back on board? I don't think it's necessarily cleaning house, but there has to be change. There has to be change. And I'm operating on the premise that it does not turn around. The DeWitt's model, which I like not going, okay, we're just going to fire somebody to fire somebody. I like that. I really do. I think it's served them well. It's similar to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I make that analogy often, the Rooneys and the DeWitts. But a lot of what the Rooneys have done, and I'm sure Steelers fans would say this, I'd be curious what Kerry Davis would say since he actually won a Super Bowl with the organization, is rooted on it really worked in the 70s, and then it worked again in the 90s, and then we got another one over the Cardinals, 15 years ago. And what, they've had 3 coaches, know?
Yep. Each with a Super Bowl.
It's insane. I get it. But the past does not indicate future success, especially if the present is kind of grinding. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that I think the fan base is going, okay, we're investing financially, we're investing emotionally, where are you investing? And they are investing financially. It's the 12th highest payroll. The element that pisses me off is what they're investing it in and how there's just, okay, the same people who played a role in it failing got the chance to build it back up. And that's just not the way that business, much less sports, but business works. And this business is off the rails. Your thoughts, 314-399-9646. And the YouTube chat is also open, and we will read comments from both coming up. This is Balloon Party, 101 ESPN.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by September 2nd, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Hey, it's Brooke for Universal Windows Direct. The heat has arrived and it's only going to get hotter from here. Do not cool off the outside this year. Call my guys over at Universal Windows Direct. Schedule your free in-home estimate today, and for every 2 windows you buy, get the next 2 for free, plus 0% financing for 60 months. Universal backs it all up with a true lifetime warranty as long as you own the home. Mention my name and get an additional $250 off your next project. Go to UWD.com. That's UWD.com. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
Take the fast lane home weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. with Anthony Stalter, Jamie Rivers, and Carrie Davis on 101 ESPN. 2 former pros and 1 average Joe. The fast lane is driven by Scrap Mart Metals Recycling.
Hey everyone, it's Action Jackson here. I'm going to deliver you a nice little Sports Center update that's brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals lose yet again 4-1, the final score in Cincinnati. They will take on the Reds today, finishing out that 3-game series in Cincinnati. Tonight, 5:40 p.m., first pitch. That was our Sports Center update. It was brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Back, Bloom Party 101 ESPN. Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett with you. How many segments do we have left?
2.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Jackson, if I get going.
That's what happens.
All right. All right. Cardinals are the discussion point today. Let me go into the YouTube chat. Let's see. You have to love that Tim is going after the Cardinals, and namely Mozeliak and his leadership since 2015. Bad free agent contracts, bad contract extensions, bad trades, bad development, and the brain drain. That's from John Fitzgerald in the YouTube chat. Let's see. What are Mike Gersh's responsibilities? When was he hired? When did the team get stale? That's from David Landholt in the YouTube chat. If this was a legitimate championship caliber team, fans would do whatever it took to get to the games. That's from, is that ZM?
That's
Z/
yeah,
/M?
Yeah, that's like Z. It's like Zam, but without. It's not a traditional A. But it's Albert as a profile pic.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
YouTube chat is active. 152 people in there talking it over right now. You can go in there. It's the 101 ESPN YouTube channel. And Jackson Sports Center updates harken back to FDR's fireside chats. That's from Hunter.
Thank you. I think they're as important. Who would have ever told you what the Cardinal game score was? Almost, what would that be?
Jackson's going to do some math on the hours right now.
14 hours ago?
Yeah.
About that? Yeah. If not for me, you wouldn't know that the Cardinals lost.
For those of you who just want us to turn our attention to Missouri football and Blues hockey, got this email from the University of Missouri. 2 weeks away from the start of the 2024 season, Missouri football has sold out of all reserved season tickets. How about that, Jackson?
I think that's it's a similar conversation we would get into with the Rams. When you put a product in the field that's just not worth watching, people aren't going to go watch. It doesn't mean that there's bad fans, but I think you could see the same thing with the Cardinals that you saw with the Rams. When the team isn't performing well, it's tough to get people to go out and spend the money to go see it. That's just the case.
And you know what I say, Jackson? I'll tell you exactly what I say. Some people like some things and some people don't like other things.
Shout out to Prod Joe.
Amen, Producer Joe. But the thing like, they're not true fans. And it's always the person saying somebody's not a true fan who is determining what a true fan is.
The arbiter.
Which is essentially whatever it is that this person doesn't like.
Right.
But I keep going back to this. Some people like some things and some people don't like other things. From my standpoint, if something doesn't really entice me, I'm not going to spend my money on it. If other people choose to do so, you know what I say? God bless you and God bless these United States of America. If you want to attack me for not doing it, be my guest.
Right.
I'm probably going to go, I'm not going to associate with you.
Right.
And you're probably dealing with some semblance of sexual frustration, honestly, if I really had to. Maybe there's some financial problems, too, but I would guess there's a sexual frustration underlying current there. Kind of like a wave starter. I always figure that guy's got something doing, an incel situation.
It's a true fan, though.
By some definitions. But I've never been like, they're not true fans, or they're great fans, or, here comes a middle infielder who had 8 bats with the 95 Cardinals. Let's give him a standing ovation. If people want to do that, that's wonderful. If I don't, that doesn't mean that I dislike the gentleman. I just think it might be a look at me moment. That's my perspective. But either way, maybe it isn't. I don't know. I'm not going to participate. You can participate. And I say this, God bless you and God bless these United States of America.
Right.
That's what I'm saying, Jackson. When it comes to Gersh, I always think of the Office Space line. What is it you say you do around here? That's from Tiny PP.
Yeah. I don't know how much he's to blame for all of this, but listen, I don't think anybody in the front office can say, well, I had nothing to do with this, that, or the other. It's a long time coming, It's been a long time coming this season.
I think the way that the world works, this isn't limited to sports, is people want to put the blame on a person. And I think more often than not, that blame does not necessarily belong on a person if we're talking about a significant issue with a lot of moving parts, although that is usually boring for social media /podcast /radio. It's a lot easier to just pick an enemy and then just jump all over them. But that's, for me, it's not necessarily the way that the world works. If we want to tie the Cardinal discussion into what we opened up the segment with Missouri selling out its reserve tickets, one of the weirdest spots I would have been in would have been coming in after Missouri loses to K-State last year after the delay of game penalty before Mevis wound up kicking the game-winning field goal and being like, I'm on board with Eli Drinkwitz. I know that was a terrible mistake and it's really inexcusable, but I like the direction the program is going. And I'm not going to, because and I'm not saying people would have been wrong to be calling for his job or any of that stuff, but to me it's more about process and is something moving in the right direction or is it regressing? In the case of the Cardinals, it'd be very difficult for people to be going, no, this is moving in the right direction. Whoever you want to blame, be my guest. I think there are a variety of issues. And it is all culminated with what is looking to be yet another disappointing season. The thing is, I just don't think there were a lot of people going into the season who thought it was going to be a great season. thought it was going to be, I think most people would have said 82 to 86 wins. I think maybe I'm off on that. I mean, you could have given me $1 million to one, not $1 million to one, honestly, but I don't know, 100 to 1 odds on the Cardinals being a 100-win team. I wouldn't have taken it.
Yeah.
25 to 1 to win the World Series? Maybe. I don't know. Because the World Series I view as like a crapshoot. But 100 wins? No way in hell.
Right.
And I'm not saying you got to be a 100-win team. You just kind of knew what it was. They also didn't look like a 70-win team either. Mm-hmm. But I think it was Marcia's Burner who sent in the text. Tim, what do you consider to be more likely? The team finishes with 75 wins or fewer. They're at 60 right now. And they have 42 games remaining. So that'd mean be going 15-27 at best to hit that bet. Or making the postseason. I guess I would say the postseason. The thing is, the schedule is rough.
Yeah. Yep.
And they're really going to be put to the test. I mean, they're being put to the test by the Cubs and the Reds here over the last couple of weeks, much less when here come the Dodgers. I don't know what it is. I just can't believe that this thing is just going to sputter into just oblivion to end the season. Yeah. And then if it does, what direction do they go? Does Mozeliak step down a year earlier than he planned to? Do they fire Ali Marmol? I'm not. These are rhetorical questions. I would say they can't possibly roll the same thing out again. But I've said they can't possibly do this, and then they wind up doing it. So if you would have said, what are the odds they're going to give Ali Marmol a contract extension? I would have gone, well, I mean, that's not even possible. I don't know. $1 million to 1. I have no idea. And then sure enough, okay, what are we doing? We're just going to try to alienate people.
Well, they were nervous about that first month of the season.
My goodness. I don't know. All right, apparently we got a break. We've only broken twice, and it's 10:53. Yeah. My goodness. All right, we got a break. That's on me, Jackson. That's on me. I'm going to blame you, but it's on me. This is Balloon Party. Balloon Party's title sponsor is Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota online at stlouisacura.com and altontoyota.com. And they set up a number specific for our audience to call or text with any questions or requests you may have. And that number is the following, 314-252-0029. 314-252-0029. stlouisacura.com and altontoyota.com. That's Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota for new cars, for pre-owned cars, and to get your car serviced. Even if you didn't get it from Munganess, that's fine. They're still going to service it, and they're going to do a wonderful job. I can't say enough good things about the people I have gotten to know at Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. Matter of fact, those are the people with their names on the dealership. That's Peter Munganess, and that's Jamie Burkhardt. It's Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. Online at stlouisacura.com and online at altontoyota.com.
Don't settle for normal when you deserve to feel exceptional. At Mentality Men's Health, we've consulted over 23,000 men who were told their testosterone levels were, quote, normal, despite feeling anything but. Remember, normal ranges can be as varied as the difference between an 18-year-old and a 90-year-old man. If fatigue, weight gain, or a lost drive have become your new normal, stop. Go to our website, schedule an appointment with Mentality today for a second opinion that could change your life. Join the thousands of men who found their true normal with us. Schedule in St. Louis at lowtusa.com. That's lowtusa.com.
Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota, the place I go to get my cars, the place I would love for you to go to get your cars as well. They are online at stlouisacura.com and altontoyota.com. It's Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. Breaking news, Jackson's a sub. I think that's all the time we have.
No retort needed.
Dean Jansen says they got 1 minute for the last segment. I'm sure Jackson will turn it into the best 1 minute in radio. There's Dan Jansen.
I will.
What are you going to do with it?
I often call her a gem, Lisa. She has a little mic drop.
Good call.
And you know what? We're going to play it because we like Lisa.
Hey, guys, I got a question for you. It's simple. Do the St. Louis Cardinals have a PR firm, or do they just not listen to it, or are they that arrogant that they just don't give a damn? I mean, you have 91 losses last year. This year is not going to end well. Maybe Arnado will show up. It's flipping August. Kids are back in school. I mean, are they that arrogant now? Really? I mean, you put a good product out, we're coming. This isn't a good product. Guess what? We're raised on Whitey and Tony. We know good baseball. This isn't it. All right, thanks, guys. Just checking in to see what you think.
Man, that Lisa.
She's a gem.
She's a gem. She's a gem.
She's a gem. There's really no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
You know, she delivers a scalding take, and then she says, have a great day.
That's just great.
Want to see what you guys think.
That's a mic drop.
That's a mic drop.
That's a mic drop.
What about Stephen Wildwood?
He brings the heat.
Did he ever get played?
No, he did not. Not on these airwaves, he didn't.
Wow. That's not going to go well for you. There's going to be a lot of Vladimir Burkett messages coming.
That's fine. Shout out to Tarasenko. Stanley Cup champion 2 times.
That's right. Jackson displaying his hockey knowledge as we hand it off to BK and Ferrario. For Jackson Bennett Burkett, I'm Tim McKernan. This has been Balloon Party on 101 ESPN. James Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency, my insurance agent, a wonderful person who runs a really, really customer service focused business. And he joins us right now to talk it over as we are 15 days away from the start of the 2024 Missouri college football season. Good morning, Mr. Carlton.
Good morning, Tim. I know the season tickets are sold out, but there's these family 4-packs for that big bout against Buffalo, $99.
My.
Include some food and drink. Bring the kids down. I'll bring my kids down, and we'll teach them the Rams rules together.
How about that? That sounds like a nice little plan, actually. I don't know how I'm going to handle it with a 6 or 7 o'clock kickoff with the 2-year-old.
It might be a late night for him.
My late night for him. Yeah, we'll bring him over to the Sigma Chi house if we're still on campus. I don't know. We're gone again. All right, well, we're gone again. James, we got Buffalo, we got Murray State, we got Boston College, we got Vanderbilt. You'll be at them all, and now you're going to Texas A&M too.
That's my plan, and just throw the records out with those first 4 games. Those should be good. But I tell you what, between now and then, there's still plenty of time to see how much we can save you on your car and home insurance. Just go to carltoninsurance.net, call or text 314-961-4800, and let us show you how much we can save you.